Okay, guys, so we have a lesson today, and it's going to be very similar. As you can see, it's line plots. But this time, we're going to be doing more than just one whole. Okay, so far, what we've been doing is solving problems of a line plot that only has one whole. So that's why we always start at 0 and then 1/4, 2/4, or 1/2, 3/4, and then 1, right? So there isn't any whole before that. It's all fractional until you reach here. So this time we're going to be studying a line plot that has a whole and a fraction at the same time. So basically, if I write this down, it will be a mixed number, okay? So how do I know what these little tick marks mean? So again, it all depends on how it is divided. Okay, so how many times has this been divided? So I'm going to count. Okay, so this is my whole number and this is the beginning of my fraction. Okay, so this would mean 5 and 1/4. How do I know that it's 4? Because look, I have to count 1, 2, 3, 4 to get to my whole, to my new whole. So 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and then I have my new whole. So technically, this would, if I write it down correctly, this would mean 5 and 1/4, 5 and 2/4, or 1/2, 5 and 3/4, and then 6 is my new whole. Okay, so again, we're going to do the same thing. This would be 6 and 1/4, 6 and 2/4, or 1/2, 6 and 3/4, and then another new whole number. So now I'm going to show you how you can determine the solution for this problem, since we're not just working with fractions, we are working with a mixed number. So we're not just adding fractions, but we're also including a whole and a fraction at the same time. Okay, so now let's do this step by step. Okay, so the line plot shows the distance students lived from the school in miles. What is the difference in miles between the students who live closest and furthest away? So first, you have to determine which one is closest and which one is furthest. So obviously, this is my closest and this is my farthest. So first, it's asking for the difference, right? But first, I have to know what the total is for the two kids that have to drive or that live 5 miles away from the school. So since I have two kids, I'm going to multiply. So 5 miles times 2 is 10 miles. So that is the total distance of two kids. Now I'm going to add up all my 6 and 3/4, or I'm going to multiply. Okay, so 3 times 6, here's my whole, and 3/4. Wait, let me erase that real quick. Okay, so 6 and 3/4. Now remember, when you multiply a mixed number, you multiply your whole number first and then your mixed number. Okay, so let's multiply 3 times 6. So 3 times 6 is 18. Now I can't forget my fraction, so I have to multiply that as well. 3 times 3/4. So 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, so 3 times 3/4 is 9. And then you just copy the denominator. So since this is an improper fraction, I'm going to turn it into a what? A mixed number or a proper fraction. So 9 divided by 4 is 2, 8, 1. So 2 and 1/4. So now I can add the product of my whole number and the product of my fraction. So 18 plus 2 and 1/4 is 20 and 1/4. So now I've solved the distance of 3 kids who live 6 3/4 miles away from school. So now I'm going to go back to my original problem, which is what is the difference? So now I'm going to subtract. So of course, I'm going to start subtracting from my longest distance. So that would be 20 and 1/4 minus 10. Okay, so 20 minus 10 is 10. And then I can't forget my fraction, 1/4. So the difference, my final answer, the difference in miles between the students who live closest and furthest away is 10 and 1/4 miles. Okay, so I'm going to pause it.